Morning, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services. Well, it's a nice, damp, drizzly, chilly old Friday morning, and I thought I'd make a little video, which is more evidence video, this, to prove that I've actually repaired the tyre on the leaf sweeper mower, or tractor as we're going to call it. Didn't have much to do yesterday afternoon. I'd finished various gardening jobs, a few other jobs I had to do and whatnot, and I thought, right, Martin, repair that tyre. So it doesn't go down completely, but it goes down enough to be a problem. And I'm hoping, well, at the moment, of course, it lives in the workshop, but it won't be living in the workshop all the time. And it will be actually, hopefully, once I get round to it, over there on the side of my car garage, where the work tower is, there's actually an overhang on the roof, which I'm going to temporarily extend out and make sort of a lean-to so that the tractor can sit in there. Now that's all well and good, but of course it might sit there for 3 or 4 days, 5 days without being used. The tyre will go flat, and then I will have to go and take the tyre off, bring it over to blow it up. And I thought, no, that's going to become tedious after the first time it happens. So I thought, Martin, fix it. You have the stuff to fix it. Get on with it. So I thought I'm going to prove I've actually done it. It was a hard one to find because I had to blow this tube up to quite an astronomical size, and it got bigger and bigger before I finally found a tiny, tiny pinhole here. And once the tube went down to a certain size, it sealed up. So I thought, that was a hard one to find. I kept blowing the tube up and thinking, oh, I don't want to go any bigger than this. It seems to have actually stretched a little bit, but that's all right. It's only a mower tyre. It's possible that tube's actually too big, really, because it was the one that was in the tyre when I think it might be a bit big, really, but oh well, it's going in. It's the one I've got. It just have to adapt. Is that a size on it? No, just moulding thing. Oh well, we shall find out. But I thought I'm going to show you this. I won't show you fitting it because you remember the fight I had with it last time. So I shall finish that off. And what else are we up to today? Well, I'm actually waiting for a customer of mine, the family that brings all their vehicles to me. I made a feature on quite a few of their cars along the way. I've got a lawnmower to service and a pressure washer to look at. So the usual sort of thing that happens. What else am I up to? Oh yes, I've been working on the trailer. The wheels should arrive with me tomorrow. Went rummaging around in my store shed and I found this handy half a sheet of plywood. I thought, aha! It was actually half of an 8 before, or 4x8 if you're viewing from across the pond. What I've actually done is I've obviously laid the angle out here, and that is actually the same width as the mowers or tractors, and of course it's 4 foot wide, so I thought, well, that's a perfect size for a trailer. So I thought, right, that's more than 4 foot. Whatever. Oh yes, I cut a piece off the end there, so ignore that, people. Ignore that. It was 4 foot that way, and it's obviously a bit longer that way. So whatever it's going to be, that's how big it's going to be, because that's the piece size of the piece of wood that I've got. Now the section here that get the offcut will make a nice end for it here. And I'm off to see my dad tomorrow. I've got a couple of jobs to do for him, and he's got some bits of plywood there, so I can grab some odds and ends, and I can always make the sides out of 2 and a little towel board on the end. I'm not going to make this a tip-in trailer, but I am going to position it so that the axle is slightly biased towards the front, so it will naturally pivot back. I'll make it so it pivots around its axle. I don't really need a tip-in trailer for anything. I don't move sort of mud around, or not enough to be a problem. So I thought, well, that's quite handy. I didn't even remember I had this piece of plywood, so I've got so many bits and pieces. It's just a case of wander around and find what you can. Anyhow, so stick that tyre back on, and I shall show you the evidence when it's finished. Right, success, it's back on. Didn't put up much of a fight, this one, funny enough. I think this tyre now is programmed that once you let the air out, it just falls off the beads naturally. Must say, when this tyre is a little bit distressed, I think we'll say. Obviously, it's not as bad as the one that come off the other side, which I've now replaced. So hopefully, we fixed it. That tube is definitely way too big for that tyre, but I ain't worried about it. I think a new tube's about 11, 12 quid or something silly delivered, so if it comes to it, I'll get another tube, but I'm not fussed if it works. So there it is. And with a bit of luck, I'll put it back on the tractor today and it might stay up. While I've got the camera out, I thought I might just give an update on how I'm getting on with the little engine project. I've spun the carburettor around, which is obviously the manifold I've made, and I've welded a trap nut into the cover here, so the standard bolt that holds the carb in place lines up. Of course, I didn't realise at the time, but that was a bit of an unintentional design feature. So much as if you remove the modified carburettor, leaves the original inlet manifold. Let's move things in a little closer here. Leaves the original inlet tube here. The breather here I've had to shorten. This is one I've salvaged off a scrap engine, and I've rethreaded the end and just moved it in a bit. Now, what's actually happened, of course, when I made this manifold, I made this mounting here to fit the original bolt hole down here. Because I've welded this bolt in here, or trap nut, of course that's replicated it. Again, it lines up here. So what I could do, this is totally unintentional, I can actually, I know the breather will need changing again, but I can make an extension here and then a spacer and actually bolt the original fuel tank and carburettor on here if I want to use an original. The pull start will clear it, although I might have to change that around a bit. And then I need to make a bracket over there, so it's actually worked out that both types of carb will fit with adaptation. Hey, another good word. Hang on, we're getting serious now. We had patination, articulation, geometric, and now we've had adaptation. Wow. See, the motor trade hasn't damaged all them brain cells, ish. No comments on that one. I might just have to move the pull start round to the other position. Unfortunately, they've welded this one. Some are riveted, so I might have to drill the welds out, and it might be all right like that, but we'll get around to working that one out. Anyhow, I just want to show a couple of other things, and so I'll bring you back in a moment. While I was at it, I just thought I'd show you a little view of how that oil device works, oil slinger, because I'm about to stick the inside of the engine back on again. Now, one thing that really threw me, I was taking this cover off. You've got a row of bolts here, here, and here, but the other bolt is hidden inside here. So you have to take the shaft out. Now, to take the shaft out, you have to tap the roll pin out of the gear and slide the gear along there to clear the bolt. Now, obviously, if you drop the roll pin in there, you've got to take the cover off to retrieve it. There's a small plate. I'll show you how that works. In the shaft that goes through the side is this small clip, and that's cut out and there's a groove in the shaft. So you put the shaft through there, and that slides in here and is retained by the cover to stop the shaft falling out. You can lift that up. Of course, the gear is tight against here, so you have got to knock the roll pin out. So marvellous. Yeah, that one threw me for a while, but because these run directly in the aluminium here, that is the bearing, and there's a lubrication hole. Oh, that's the cutouts there. If the shaft's all rusty here, of course, and you drag these off, you score the bearings, so you've got to make sure they're all clean. On the end of the camshaft here is this extension. This has been extended, but it has the drive gear, and the other cover I've got, the cam's about that long, so it means a lot of modification. Now, this plastic gear here plastic cog with these little, let's just show you that. Yeah, this like plastic cog here with these little like legs sticking out. This runs on the cam gear and it rotates and it flings the oil everywhere. So normally this engine obviously is laying down that way and the oil level sits about there. Now I kind of worked out that if I put the oil level to about here, it should be fine. And that does equate, it's in the right one, does equate to where that size of that hole is there. Trying to do everything here, need an extra hand. This was the original dipstick tube, so if the oil was filled to about here, that will work out fine. So I think that's going to be all right. I'm not going to run this a lot. It's more of an experiment than anything else. But as long as the oil, that's picking up the oil, that will fling it everywhere. The crank will throw it up, the cam gear will throw it up, so it shouldn't be an issue. But you can see there's not an awful lot inside one of these trusty old side valve Briggs. It's a fairly simple engine. Yeah, there's very little to it whatsoever. Tough, robust little things. Some of the later ones have a plastic gear here and actually a plastic camshaft, which, ooh, that seems wrong, but it seems to work fine. And it's quite straightforward to get the camshaft out. You set it so it's on its firing stroke. There's no pressure on the valve spring. Just slide the cam straight out. There's timing mark here, the timing mark on the gear here somewhere, and you just time the two together. Fairly straightforward, nothing horrible. And in the side here, you've got the tappet. There was a breather in there, but that's actually the tappet chest, and the two valve springs are located in here. And you can just see the exhaust valve. Just see the exhaust valve down the port there. It's fairly grotty in there. And yeah, and that's it. That's just the breather and say tub, and you can get the valves out, take the valve springs out to remove the valve. So there's not a great deal to them really. Side valve engines are pretty simple old Hectors, shall we say. There's a closer view of the point set up. The intake manifold's here. I mean, that could be unbolted if I want to and turned it that way. Not a lot else to them really. The point set up will say works fine on this one. I'll leave it. There's a little tiny push rod here that runs off the crankshaft's got a little tiny raised section, and that just opens and shuts the points. It's all nice and clean in there, so say it did run nice, so I'll leave it alone. So that's the basics of what's in one of these, which is not a lot. And the camshaft runs in this bearing in the housing here, and there are washers to control the inflow on both of them, or they just spit it out mine. Oh, shim gaskets. Yes, some of them different thickness gaskets to shim them. Some have washers, so never worried about that. You just sort of stick them back, basically. So that's what's going on inside there. That's what I'm up to. The tyre is done. So I managed to take up nearly 15 minutes of everybody's time, and I'm not entirely sure what this was all about, but I thought I'd at least prove I've done the tyre. So we had another few subscribers, and we hit 120 subscribers now, and the views are heading to 20,500. So fantastic news. So please keep subscribing. Find anybody you know, keep hitting that like button. It's just good news all the way. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Any thoughts, comments, questions, fire away. Bye for now.